Samuel is a playboy who runs a private cruise ship at a Paris resort. That afternoon, Samuel requested permission from his boss to have a party on the beach behind the resort. His boss originally refused, but because Samuel had worked so hard all day, she eventually agreed to let him go as long as the celebration ended at 1 a.m. Samuel was overjoyed to hear this. He promised that the party would end at 1 a.m., but he was still partying until 5 a.m. When Samuel awoke in the afternoon, he was shocked to discover a woman near the bow of the ship. Kristen is the name of the lady. She arrived with a baby, claiming to be Samuel's biological daughter and naming her Gloria. He asked how he had a child when he had forgotten if he had ever met Kristen. Kristen attempted to remind him that they had met at a pub where she worked in London. Kristen requested to borrow 20 euros to pay for a taxi in the middle of the talk, then asked Samuel to keep her kid for a bit, but when she went to pay for the taxi, instead of returning, Kristen raced away with the taxi, leaving her daughter with Samuel. Samuel instantly after her, but he lost track of her at the airport. He resolved to take the next flight to England in a hurry. Samuel used a map to find the pub where Kristen worked when he arrived at London City Airport because he couldn't speak English. Someone went by while speaking French on the phone when he was in difficulties. Samuel then followed him and pleaded for help. Bernie is the name of the individual. Unfortunately, Samuel forgot about Gloria and hurried to bring her back while parkouring through the mob. Bernie was shocked when he saw how talented Samuel was. He then informed Samuel that he was a manager at an actor distribution agency and was now seeking a stuntman for the action picture. Bernie then handed Samuel his card and invited him to contact if he was interested in the position. Samuel resumed his quest to visit the pub after receiving the directions, but when he arrived, the server informed him that Kristen had quit from there. Samuel was heartbroken. He didn't know where else to look. With a sad heart, he decided to return to Paris, but at the airport, he discovered that his wallet was stolen. When he phoned his boss for help, instead of assisting him, they fired him for partying till morning at the resort. Samuel was mute in horror when he heard that. In the midst of his worry, he recalled Bernie's business card, and without hesitation, Samuel met Bernie and accepted his previous offer, but because Samuel had no place to reside in England, Bernie encouraged Samuel to live with him as the boss and a close friend. Samuel's new life officially began after that. Samuel continued to work as a stuntman over the years. He was also used to caring for Gloria on his own until she was 8 years old. Every day, the tiny princess joined her father to work and assisted him in becoming a translator, since even though Samuel had been in England for 8 years, he still couldn't speak English, but Samuel fainted one day while shooting the scene of an accident. Everyone was terrified, but when Gloria approached and spoke something to Samuel, he suddenly awoke. They both went home after finishing the scenario. Samuel had been able to purchase his own home. He even arranged his house to look like a playground in order to impress his kid. Gloria was with Bernie that night when she heard a notification sound from her room. She raced gleefully, claiming it had to be a message from her mother, while in actuality, Samuel had been sending messages to Gloria every day as though Kristen had sent them. He did that on purpose because he didn't want Gloria to feel upset if she found out her biological mother had abandoned her. Not only that, but every night, Samuel always sent messages to Kristen on Facebook. Even though he knew Kristen's Facebook account had been dormant for a long time, he maintained sending her messages in the hopes that one day Kristen would read them. Samuel and Gloria went to the hospital the next day for a standard checkup. Because the doctor wanted to speak with Samuel alone in the middle of the examination, the nurse invited Gloria to accompany her. The doctor warned Gloria after she left that she wouldn't survive much longer. Gloria had been suffering from a serious sickness all along. The child, who appeared to be in good condition on the exterior, was suffering from a serious life-threatening disease. Samuel was saddened after hearing the decision, but as a parent, he had to remain strong. Samuel and Gloria went for a walk at the amusement park after returning home from the hospital. A woman unexpectedly seized Gloria's hand when she was standing alone because she mistook Gloria for her daughter. Gloria was disappointed when the woman apologized and went. She had never known motherly love in her life. Samuel, who couldn't take seeing his little angel miserable, broke into tears late at night after sending a message to Kristen on Facebook. Samuel first assumed Kristen's account would be inactive, however her Facebook was live that night. Kristen's account was also spotted reading the mails Samuel had sent one by one. Samuel was terrified. Kristen's message arrived shortly after. Kristen invited Samuel and Gloria to meet in the park tomorrow in that message. Samuel was so excited to get a letter from Gloria's real mother that her daughter had been missing all this time that he couldn't wait to see Gloria's excited face when she met her mother. After all this time, the three of them eventually met the next day. Gloria welcomed Kristen to her house to spend time playing together till late at night. When Gloria was sleeping, Kristen disclosed the truth that the reason she left Gloria with Samuel was because she believed Gloria would just be a burden in her life. She apologized from the bottom of her heart, but despite her apology, Samuel was still upset with her. He wanted to chastise Kristen, but he was scared his voice might wake Gloria. Kristen arrived practically every day to accompany Gloria to the playground. Seeing her kid happy made Samuel happy, and gradually but steadily, Samuel began to embrace Kristen into his life. Samuel unexpectedly proposed to Kristen one night when they were hanging out at the amusement park. He stated that he had always wanted to grant Gloria's wish to have a complete family like his buddies, but Kristen did not respond. She eventually opened her mouth and said that she had found another man and would soon marry him. She chose to show up and spend time with Gloria because she intended to migrate to America after getting married. Samuel was saddened, but he recognized that Kristen had arrived again just to see her kid, not to meet him. Kristen invited her boyfriend to meet Gloria and Samuel the next day at the restaurant. They appeared to be having a good time together. When Kristen and Gloria walked to the restroom, Kristen's boyfriend attempted to converse with Samuel in English, but he misunderstood him since Samuel couldn't speak English. He assumed Kristen's boyfriend was laughing at him, and he hasn't liked him since. Samuel informed Bernie about the event the day before at the filming location, and as a good buddy, Bernie tried to calm him down. Gloria, Kristen, and Kristen's boyfriend arrived at the filming location shortly after. It turned out that Gloria had invited them. Bernie interrupted the chat by telling Samuel to prepare for the following scene, in which he would leap from the 6th story of a burning building. Samuel was terrified and asked Gloria to persuade the director to let him leap from the 1st floor instead. Gloria readily agreed to assist, but when she met with the director, she stated that her father may leap from the 11th floor. She did this to impress her mother so that she would reconsider coming to America and instead stay with them. When the filming began, Samuel was still happy because he thought Gloria had persuaded the director, but when one of the crew members told him that Gloria had forced the director to have him jump from the 11th floor, he became enraged and begged to be let down. Hearing Samuel's whining, the director became perplexed and admonished Gloria. Samuel, who couldn't endure seeing his daughter reprimanded from above, was eventually willing to leap from the 11th story. He performed the part as intended, but as he landed, he fainted. Gloria took to get her father up as usual, but after several minutes, Samuel had not awakened. Everyone began to worry and phoned an ambulance, but fortunately, Samuel gradually became aware. Kristen inquired as he was being treated as to what Gloria had said to him before he passed out. Samuel responded that it was none of her concern and caused them to dispute. Kristen even brought up the phony communication Samuel made to Gloria under her identity. Kristen was about to leave when she noticed Gloria waiting behind the door. Gloria had been present the entire time and had heard all the two of them said. Gloria wanted to spend the night at Kristen's place on the way home that night. Samuel originally refused her, but after Gloria labeled him a liar, he was stunned and agreed to let her remain. When Bernie got home, he tried to calm him down by saying that Gloria could simply need some alone time. Samuel eventually notified Bernie about Gloria's condition at that point. Bernie was moved to tears after hearing the story. Despite the fact that he was nothing, he treated Gloria as if she were his own child. Gloria hadn't been home for several days, which disturbed Samuel. Kristen never answered the phone when he called. Kristen and Gloria, on the other hand, were spending time together. They were hanging around, eating Gloria's favorite cake, and doing the typical things moms and daughters do, until one night, Samuel strolled into Kristen's apartment and informed her, without hesitation, that he wanted to take Gloria home, but Kristen refused. She believed she could be a complete mother now that Gloria was in her life, and if Samuel insisted on taking Gloria away, she would seek custody of Gloria in court. Samuel was worried when he heard the threat. Samuel stated that he would defend her in court for Gloria while carrying her sleeping. Samuel apologized to his daughter several times on the way home. Even though he knew he couldn't be forgiven for all of his falsehoods over the years, he did it only to keep Gloria happy. Gloria was awake and heard all he said without his realizing it. Gloria's custody trial began a few days later. Kristen attempted to persuade the court throughout the trial that Gloria will be happier if she lives with her biological mother. After all, Kristen's boyfriend adored Gloria as if she were his own kid, so Gloria will undoubtedly be able to get complete affection from both a mother and a father figure in the future. Samuel's time came after Kristen finished speaking. He informed the judge about Kristen leading Gloria for the first time. Samuel was conflicted. She was terrified, furious, disappointed, and bewildered, and he wanted to vent his feelings, but as he saw the baby develop, his sentiments gradually but steadily changed. He would let Gloria skip school if she so desired. To make Gloria happy, he would take her to an amusement park. He even transformed his residence into an amusement park to appease her. He worked so hard that he sometimes felt tired simply to make his daughter happy. Gloria was his only possession in this world. Samuel pleaded with the judge not to take away his tiny angel with sad eyes. Everyone was moved by Samuel's comments. The judge eventually determined that Gloria's custody went to Samuel after much deliberation. Samuel was overjoyed when he heard the judge's judgment. He hoped that his life with Gloria would return to how it had been before Kristen arrived. After a few weeks, Samuel and Gloria's relationship began to improve. Samuel chose to shift jobs to become an art teacher at Gloria's school in order to be closer to her daughter. That day, while teaching, he received a call from his lawyer notifying him that Kristen had surreptitiously conducted a DNA test, and the findings revealed that Gloria was not Samuel's biological kid. The next day, all parties went back to see the judge, and after reading the DNA test findings, the judge had to withdraw Gloria's custody from Samuel and give it to Kristen, which meant that day would be his final day with Gloria, and he had to let Kristen take Gloria away from him the next day. He will be condemned to prison if he continues to detain Gloria. Samuel couldn't help but feel sorry after hearing the judge's comments. Kristen apologized to Samuel for what had transpired after the trial. She was simply inquisitive and wanted to conduct a DNA test. She also discovered Samuel was not Gloria's biological father. The next day, while collecting Gloria's belongings, Samuel attempted to gradually explain what had occurred to her innocent daughter. Kristen arrived shortly after to pick her up. Bernie was also there outside to say his goodbyes. When Gloria was going to depart in the automobile, she continued glancing at the home until she abruptly jumped out of the car and raced into the house to hug her father. Gloria expressed her desire to be with Samuel indefinitely while smiling. When Kristen and Bernie walked inside the home to hunt for Gloria, they discovered that no one was there. She assumed Bernie and Samuel were plotting to take her daughter away from her. She threatened to call the cops on both of them if Bernie refused to tell her where Samuel had taken her daughter. Bernie became enraged at hearing the threat. He yelled at Kristen while exposing the awful reality about Gloria's poor condition and pleaded with Kristen to enable his closest buddy to spend time with Gloria for a short period of time because Gloria wouldn't survive much longer. Following the situation from yesterday, Kristen made the decision to give in and grant Samuel custody of Gloria in order to ensure her daughter's happiness. She even permitted Gloria to travel to France with Samuel. Gloria and Samuel spend all of their time together having fun. Kristen and Bernie visited them each once every week. Samuel and Gloria were continually creating happy experiences together. Finally, Samuel was able to fulfill his vow that he would keep making Gloria happy for the rest of time. A few weeks later, Gloria eventually passed away. When Samuel lost his little princess, he was quite heartbroken. He would have to live his days without seeing the grin on his little angel's face from now on, but he was glad for his last moments with Gloria since they had built lovely memories together, and those memories would be remembered forever. Thanks for watching my video.